We'll try it again.
It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No, we're gonna watch and listen.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome. This is Grizzly on the Hunt. This is Open Door with Barb Hartman. Hello, everybody. Welcome,
Hello.
Barb.
Thank you.
So
Great
what
to
is
be here
going
again.
on?
Well, we got a great show tonight. People have asked to hear about Dogman, right? I've been
Oh,
hearing a
yeah.
lot of that. So we're going to hear from a guy that has witnessed them. And I believe they live on his property. He'll tell us more about that. And he's also researching them, currently researching them. So that's going to be cool. I'm excited.
Yes. Now, I do not like Dogman.
No, I don't either.
I don't. I mean, anytime somebody says Dogman, I want to run in the opposite direction. And
Same.
bad enough people like to pet Sasquatch and try to feed them, right? But Dogman, it's like,
Yeah.
I always hear that moment, hold my beer, and I'm going to go, no, it's not that moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
So, yes.
Right.
Tell me about it. So, we do have a guest backstage, Mr. Daniels. Let's welcome to the show here.
Hi.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? Welcome.
Hey.
I am doing good.
Welcome.
Hey, how are y'all? I am doing really
Good.
good. Just got off work and good day.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, so tell us all about yourself. Introduce yourself. I'm dying to know about, your background, what's going on. Dogman? I mean, come on, man. I'm dying to know.
Okay. All right. My name's Brennan. I'm the most reluctant Dogman witness ever. The absolute most reluctant researcher. It wasn't something I wanted to buy into. After 3 decades of seeing on a fairly regular basis, at some point during COVID, when I was stuck at home and moved from Nashville back to where my parents lived, property I inherited, I started seeing dogs so frequently that I just couldn't tell myself that I'm not seeing what I think I am. I'm probably the furthest thing from a conspiracy theorist you'll meet. I went to school in a small town, turned 18. I went to Middle Tennessee State. My bachelor's degree in psychology, then went to graduate school and finished there and been in the workplace. And Dogman was definitely not something on my radar. It was something that I still wish I hadn't seen. It's not something I'm comfortable talking with. Hence the reason why I use the name Brennan Daniels, because given my job, given where I live, I don't want to out myself as a witness. It's really hard to admit myself what I've seen. It's a lot harder to admit to someone else. First time I ever saw Dogman, I was 12 years old, and I was 44 before I really admitted.
Wow.
Now I'm seeing it. I think I'm seeing.
I'm sorry. What did you say? I'm sorry. Wait, is he lagging?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought it close up.
You're out in the country. I can tell. You're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. My first encounter with Dogman was when I was 12 years old. I was with my daddy, and my dad was fairly educated, but at the same time, I mean, he, like me, he's from the country, and we like to hunt, we like to camp, we like to fish. And my dad had a really bizarre rule that we weren't allowed to hunt or camp on our own property. And I was probably grown, because anybody who knows anything about hunting knows that there is definitely a code of conduct that hunters are expected to follow, even though it's not law. I mean, there's just things that you're not expected to do if you hunt. And my dad always said that the reason we wouldn't hunt on our property was because the animals there were too like pets. So it would just be wrong to shoot a rabbit, or not that we had deer for a good reason. It would just be wrong to shoot deer on our own property, considering it's basically like a pet. And I always thought that that was part of the hunter's code of conduct. It took me a long time to realize that that was just my dad not wanting to go hunt in the woods, not wanting me to go out there because he knew what was there. And once when I was 12, I convinced my dad to take me squirrel hunting in the back, you know, just out behind our property. And we did. And that was the first time that I can say with full confidence that I ever saw a Dogman. And it bothered the heck out of me. And I didn't see it again until I was 16. But since then, I've seen Dogman innumerable times. Usually, this is, you know how you have memories of then, and even if that's not what happened, that's how you remember it, because that's how it always works. Like when you go in McDonald's, if you ask me what happened when I went in McDonald's today, I said I went in, I told the cashier,
Hi, Chris.
For what I wanted. I started to hand the person money, and they looked at me like they didn't know what was going on. And then I sat down at a chair that was small. It was like McDonald's wanted to get out. That didn't really happen, but it may have. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
The most typical Dogman is like this. The Dogman. I'm from the country, so like every other country boy, I'd go to pee outside. I prefer it that way. And I'm going to the tree line, fixing to pee, and I'm just standing up. I see it on for a second. It looks at me for a second, turns around, and runs off. That has been by far the most common experience I've had with Dogman. Wow. Very few times has a Dogman ever left the tree line to walk in our yard. The only time they ever do that is when they are taking the trail to go across the street. A square mile of my house, there's the Obion River, which is a tributary in Mississippi. There's a really small private lake. There's creeks. So that's exactly where the Dogmen are going. And or not, I've never had an encounter with a Dogman. Almost all of my encounters have been they were doing, or they were totally indifferent about me. This was just a few. I broke up with my then girlfriend and moved from Nashville back home about September of 2020, and I saw Dogman numerous times. They would be really close to me, but just be completely unconcerned that I'm in there. They would just walk by me like nothing was going on. Totally unconcerned about not interacting, looking over in my direction, just walking on by. The only times that they worries about Dogman, like they'll run through your windows. The only time that's ever happened at my parents' property was when my mother went with cancer, and would walk around the perimeter of our house looking in the window. But I don't know what the reason for that was. They're past, they stopped doing that. And I've seen them on my parents' property, never seen them except for one time when I was staying with a friend. Every other encounter has been on my parents' property.
Now, Brennan, the first one that you saw, you said you were 12, right?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. What?
Right.
You were 12. Okay. And that was
Yeah.
when you went squirrel hunting
12,
with your dad? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Right.
did you see it like right away? Explain how that, and what did you see?
Okay. Yeah, we were at the side of our yard. If you've got a Google Earth map, I can show you where I live. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. We were just hunting, and a coyote started getting really close to us. And I had 410 in my hand. Dad had a 20 gauge, not 12 gauge. And the coyote started getting really close, and my dad said, "Fire a warning shot at that thing to get it to leave." And I said, "Okay." So I fired my plan, and the thing still kept walking in our general direction, not to us, but close enough that I'm concerned. So he shot it. It let out a really, really bad howl. And I looked up on the ridge, and out of nowhere, two creatures standing with, I thought they were horns at the time. I didn't realize it was, but actually I had no clue what I was seeing. Two dogmen just ran up to look and see what was going on. I was 12 in my hand, and granted, a 410 shotgun's not going to do anything to a dogman, but the fact that it looked at it for several seconds and I didn't move my gun and it just ran off. I've always wondered if that kind of established something between me and that dog. Dogman, the fact that I could have easily shot her, and we just went on with her, and I didn't see it again for a few years until I was 16 and staying with a friend of mine.
Okay.
So
but the dogman just seemed really curious. It did not seem aggressive at all. It was just wondering what was going on because it heard a gunshot and it heard a coyote let out a howl.
So evidently your dad knew about this, for quite a while, it seems like, because, you do not go out in the woods, do not hunt on the land and so forth. So, I mean, this is something common we hear quite a bit, with a lot of people that owns property or owns land, whether it's Dogman or Bigfoot. But when you first saw something like this, I mean, what was going through your mind? I mean, I cannot fathom seeing a creature being at 12 years old, trying to understand that, I mean, that is just like crazy.
I wondered what it was. I didn't have a mental construct for it. So basically, I was just like, is this really happening? It was one of those situations where am I really seeing that? And when I left, I went through a lot in my brain and tried to figure out what I was seeing. When I saw the ears, I thought they were horns earlier. And the idea of something standing on two legs with horns was pretty damn scary. So, I convinced myself basically, I just seen deer. That's all I saw was a deer. And for some reason, standing or something, or for some reason at the distance, I thought the thing was standing up, but it really wasn't. It was just deer, nothing to see here. And I myself forget about it.
Right.
I know people think that when you see something really memorable, that it's going to stick with you for the rest of your life. And while that may be true, generally, when you see something that your brain does not really know what to do with, you just tuck it away and you don't really think about it. And
So
every
you're
time I
right.
would see Dogman, go ahead.
You're right. Your brain actually
Yeah, go
protects
ahead.
yourself. Your brain will actually protect the human body. Your brain
Oh
will
yeah.
suppress memories and images
Oh yeah.
to protect you from things. Now,
Mhm.
when you first realized as you was
Right.
getting older, what did Dogman look like? You know, because we hear so many different stories of people describing Dogman. I mean, what do they look like on your property? Describe them.
Okay. All right. The closest animal that I can say that a Dogman looks like is probably a Dinopithecus, which, you know, it was the precursor to modern day baboons. They look about like
Oh.
just a lot
Hmm.
bigger. And when I was telling people that, they really didn't saying like a baboon. I'm not talking about a real face or anything like a googly. I'm talking about in terms of station, the way it walks. The fact that it's almost always on 4 feet. I've only seen Dogman stand up twice. On every other occasion, it was on all fours. And I think that's one of the reasons why I never really myself processed it, is because when it's not showing you any aggression and it's just a little curious about what you're doing, it goes on its business about its business. It's a lot easier if I saw something else than it is to deal with it. Um,
Mm.
you know, yeah, they do look like dogs, kind of. But if you look at a baboon looks a hell of a lot like a dog. It's on four legs, and baboons are almost always on four legs. And when you live in West Tennessee, your brain doesn't have any kind of mental construct for a baboon walking on your property. So
Right.
you're probably going to say it looks like, yeah, it looks like the next closest thing, a dog. And, but when they're on all four, can't really, you can't really make that jump. But, yeah, I'm sorry. What was your question?
No, are they
Oh,
just
how they look. Yeah, they
yeah, are they
vary.
muscular? Are they skinny? Are they thick? Are they, body
Yeah,
structure?
I've seen my property. They have varied quite a bit. I mean, you can tell they're the same species, but the dog man that I've typically seen the most, I call her Sammy. I've seen her that many times. She's tan. She actually looks, in terms of her coloration, like a cougar. And
Wow.
I think it's for that reason that I've seen her the most, because, if something's black, you're not really going to notice it that well when it's in heavily wooded areas. But if something is colored about like a cougar, it's going to stand out more. Um, there are three that I've seen the most. One is black. There's actually a picture of her floating around. Another's tan, and another is gray. I mean, brown.
Okay.
Sammy is really, really muscular. Her arms look like a Mr. Universe contestant. The other two are bulky and big, but their arms are not as big. And there is a lot of diversity in the dog breeds. Individuals will vary a lot between one and another. And I know people will do all this shit like, oh, I saw a type 3 dog man, or this was a soldier dog man. I mean, we really don't know that. I've seen a man that looks like what people calls a soldier walking with two others that look a lot less bulky. The head's not as, I think there's just a physical vary. I've even heard people talk about white dog man, but I've never seen one. I would say the most common colors are black, brown, and tan, just going off of what other eyewitnesses have said. but they're really large. They have really long legs, um, really long arms. Generally, they walk on all fours. If they're stunned or startled, they might stand up, like they did the time that they heard a coyote gunshot. I've had a dog stand up on me one other time, but that was to look inside a window. It wasn't to intimidate me. They typically have a tail that looks like a baboon with fur at the end. Their ears are definitely pointy. That would be the most distinctive feature I would give one. They have really long legs, really long. Their bodies are quite a bit smaller in terms of proportion, and have very little neck, if any.
Their legs, are they like human legs, or do they have, the backward angle like a dog would?
That's a common thing people say, is they talk about the leg being inverted. It's actually not. That's kind of where the heel is. Otherwise, their legs are basically like us or baboons with their their knees and being on the outside.
Right.
But
Okay.
you think the inversion is the heel because these are like ours.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, have you ever heard of a wampus cat?
Mm-hmm. I have heard of a wampus in Tennessee. So yeah. The six-legged cougar, really large cougar. Yeah. About the wampus cat.
There is a wampus cat in East Tennessee, not too far from you, that doesn't have six legs. That almost fits the description of one of your descriptions that you're talking about. And it's the same color tail, the same shape.
Yeah.
But it looks like she's wearing a leotard. That's how the fur is on it. But she has breasts, like a human, like it's a female human with big eyes and pointy ears. Have you ever seen anything like that? Hello, Laura. Welcome to the show. Welcome from East Tennessee. Always late, but you know what? We're glad you're here.
It's okay.
No. I'm going to say no with a couple of caveats. I'm going to give a pretty nuanced. I've never seen exactly what you're describing, but there have been numerous times where I convinced myself, well, damn, cougars really are this far into Tennessee now. I'm just seeing cougars all the time. Or hell, that was a black panther. That's what that was. So yeah, I can see how the brain would easily say, yeah, that was a mountain lion, or that was a black panther, or a wampus cat, or a Ozark howler, or any of a number of other things. Because what other options do you have when you see something that looks like a
Well, I was just curious because there are a lot of sightings out there where you live. There are a lot of sightings, not only of Dogman, but of creatures that are panther-like, cat-like. They're calling them different names. Wampus cat. Some of them say they're six-legged.
Yeah.
Some of them are describing like a feline creature. That mimics like kids, and they chatter at night. I mean, do you hear any noises at night around your place or around your property? Any distinctive different noises or animal calls or anything like that?
That was it. The other nuance I was going to. There have been rumors about black panthers where we live for years, and the sounds that they make are so similar to how people describe a black panther or a mountain lion sounding. We hear about that all the time. I've never heard anybody tell me that the people where I live, it's a very wooded area. I've heard lots of them talk about that. I've heard people talk about that's the sound you're talking about, woman scream sound. But a dog man can imitate any number of sounds. There's an airport probably about within 2 miles of my house, and a couple of times I've gone home, and I've heard an airplane nearby, and I'll start looking around. I'm like, oh, there's no air. Oh, hell, it's just a dog man, and I'll go inside and
Really?
do what I'm doing, come back. They're still making the same noise.
Wow.
Yeah. 10 minutes later, they'll be imitating. Yeah. And you're like, well, I know that wasn't an airplane now because it's still there.
When's this plane going to go over already? Wow.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And, but where we live, nobody would think anything about it. I've heard my dad had a bunch of hound dogs that he used for hunting for a long time. And when my daddy passed, I gave his dogs to a friend of his. And I've heard our hound dogs several times since then. That's because there's a thing out running around in the woods that can mimic. People say they imitate a lot of things, wheels and different birds. That's probably true, given the fact that they can imitate an airplane sound pretty accurately. But if I did hear a whippoorwill or a mockingbird, I would just assume that it was a whippoorwill or a mockingbird. And plus I've heard those sounds so long and so many times that I just didn't think anything about it. I remember a couple of years ago, I was listening to sounds on YouTube, and I'm like, yeah, I've always heard that locust sound or that cicada sound. Even when cicadas were at a season, or when locusts were at a season, they only come like once every 7 years. Yeah. But I'd heard that sound so many times that I just didn't pay any mind. I mean, I know dog men have a bad reputation. And all I can say is I guess they've seen me since I was a little kid. So they had some tolerance for me since they saw me grow up. And like I said, I've been within 2 feet of a dog man and several times when I went.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And didn't know it was there.
That is crazy.
Wow.
I swear to God, I'm telling the truth on this.
Wow.
Now,
Mr.
Daniels, now we are not here to judge anybody, okay? About who's telling the truth and who's not telling the truth.
Oh, yeah.
Now, listen here. I am talking to this girl, okay? Yeah. Now, she has got a family of Sasquatches that lives on her property. And they have known her since she has been a child, and the things they do with each other is just ridiculous. Just you would not understand, and people would be like, that's crazy. This does not happen. This just does not happen, ladies and gentlemen, in the Bigfoot world. Yeah. Okay. So now, anytime somebody tells me something, I always take that line and say, Grizzly, anything past this line, no, I'm not going to go past this line. But that line always has been moved every time, and every time. Now, how can I tell somebody, or how could somebody tell me that owns property over all these generations, or been in the family all these years and been around these creatures all these years? I'm never going to tell anybody who's right and wrong, because I get videos, I get pictures, and the first thing they say is, Grizzly, is this real or fake? Well, number one, I wasn't there, and number two, I didn't take the video or footage or pictures. So I don't judge. Right. Now, will I have somebody to hold my beer while I go pet that lion? No, I am not going to do that. Okay. Now, I am afraid of dogmen, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I am. Okay. I am telling the truth.
I get it.
Now, if
I
I
get
got
it.
that close to Dogman, I would probably mess my britches and pass out and die right then and there, and just leave me lay and put a tombstone up, and just bring me flowers every once in a while. But
Yeah.
people, you know, they do
Yeah.
have bond with these creatures, however you want to call it, and they do. They ignore people just like deer.
Yeah.
If you're around deer long enough when they are babies, they will ignore you
Yeah.
and come up to your property and feed and eat and just graze in your property and not even bother you or look at you and like, hello, okay, we see you, and it's go on about their business.
Yeah. Nothing to see
So
here.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, if
So-
somebody told me
That's it,
2
yeah.
years
Like I said-
ago, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Brennan.
No, you're good. You are good.
Okay. I was just going to say, adding to that, if
promise you,
somebody would
you're
have
good.
told
Keep
me
going.
2 years ago that, you know, that I'm now firmly believe that I'm living with a clan of Bigfoot on our property and close, and another clan supposedly close to us, I would have thought, what? That lady's crazy.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, you hear about this stuff and it's super
Yeah.
interesting. I've always been interested in it, but it's so, but once it's happening to you and you're, so we know.
Yeah, we do. And we have talked to enough people, sir.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, nothing goes past us. Yeah, I mean, people will ad lib. People will tell us lies. I mean, people will fake stuff. It happens. This little Johnny running around in an ape suit in the middle of the night, causing havoc yes, he does. And he's drunk. Yes, we know that, sir. Okay, we know. It does happen. It does. Crazy witch, we know that you will pet anything. Yes, and I'm not holding your beer, so don't even ask. But you know, people like you know, that actually come across these creatures, dogmen, however you want to call them, you know, it takes a long time for you to come forward and be like, you know what? I am not alone. This is what's going on. I mean, look how many years it's taken you to even talk about it. Number one, I can tell. I know you've taken psychology. Okay, I have as well. I can tell, number two, that you're still very uncomfortable even talking about the topic. So I really appreciate the time for even us having a discussion with you, to even having it. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah. Brennan, I had another question. So, did your father? Oh, I'm sorry, because there's like a lag. Is it me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
It's his side. It's the Tennessee connection.
You were good.
Brennan, did your dad ever say anything to you?
From Kentucky, dude. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Barb. What was the question? So sorry.
No, I said, did your dad ever say
Kentucky.
anything?
Hey, I'm drinking some sweet tea
sorry.
right now there, boss.
Okay. Did your father ever say
He
anything
did,
about Dogman?
but he didn't.
Okay.
He did, but he didn't. He would talk about them damn cougars. The Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency says they're there, but God, they're here. They drive me up the damn wall. They won't shut up. And he knew they were there. When a couple of times we just looked at each other and said, I'll say a word if you don't. It was just something we just did not talk about at all. My mother knew, and the only reason I know my mom knew was because when my mom had whatever reason, they started getting close to our house. They would block the sunlight coming in the window, and I saw, how old was that? I guess early 30s. Cancer. I remember sitting at home one day, and I saw that thing window, and it blocked the sunlight. And my mom was sitting there reading a book and didn't even look up. And I was like, "What was that, Mama?" And she said, "Oh, that was just a dog. Hell, it's nothing. Don't worry about it."
Wow.
And on another, and then not long after that, something else happened, and I said, and my mom was like, "Well, they're not really dogs. I don't know what they are. Leave them alone. They'll leave you alone." I mean, that wasn't my parents. It was, they're here. We know they're here. We know what, we don't know what they are, but they're not bothering us. So just, we won't talk about it. We'll just be, I guess, just uncomfortable, comfortable with the uncomfortability, I guess you might. But yeah, my dad and my mother knew they were there, but no one ever talked about it. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this commercial. We are talking with Mr. Daniels from Tennessee about Dogman. Unbelievable. I mean, grew up with him on his property. This is nothing uncommon. And we'll be right back after this. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Open Door with Grizzly and Barb Hartman. This is brought to you by Don Widener with Western Kentucky Bigfoot Paranormal Investigations, LLC. Thank you, sir.
Cool.
Greatly an honor. So welcome back, sir, Mr. Daniels. Glad to.
Don has been to my property.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. I thank the world of him.
Don has been to my property.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
Don's been on my property. Oh, he told you about that?
No, there's a lot of things I know. No, he did. He is not told me. No, he is not. There's just things I know. I have abilities, so there's things I can just pick up. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, okay.
I came out of the closet the other day. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it is now known that I can read people. So, but yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, it's not cool. It's scary. But anyway.
Well, I can do it too. So Brennan probably can as well. So.
But ladies and gentlemen, if you just now tuned in, Mr. Daniels has grown up with Dogman on his property. So it's very interesting because we hear this account a lot of times across the country and across the world as well. And it's not second nature to them thinking, going out the back door and just seeing something and just going on with life every day. It's nothing to them. And when we hear encounters like this, we're like, what? You got what living on your property? And, we got people that go out here every day, trying to catch a glimpse or a picture or an image of something for years. I mean, 30, 40 years and never see anything in their whole lifetime. And we got somebody like Mr. Daniels that just walk out the back door and their whole life has been around stuff like this, just like the other girl that we had on our show, Sonia. And I mean, it's just amazing to hear the stories that you have. I mean, it's just incredible. And I really appreciate your time just coming on the show and talking to us about it. I mean, I really do. Thank you. I mean,
thank you.
Yeah. I mean, what is your recommendation for people about the issue?
I don't know. That's a $10 million question. I've heard people say that telepathically with them. I've never had. Well, say that I've had a few dreams here and there that I really think were prompted by the Dogman, but ain't able to telepathically communicate with them like other people claim. I don't know anything about that. In terms of how to attract them, I really don't know. They haven't bothered me. That being said, I mean, if I've had any stress animals, because like I keep saying, they've never bothered me. It's the fact that they even exist that causes me cognitive, that I regularly see something that even other Bigfoot researchers question the veracity. Well, from an evolutionary point of view or a biological, it just, and I agree with all that. Problem is, I see the damn thing on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And I just find it funny that when Bigfoot, start trying to talk rationally about why Dogman doesn't exist, they forget it. Go ahead.
Right.
No, so we got a little delay there. I apologize.
Yeah.
So Sonia just chimed in, and this is the
You're
girl
good.
I was talking about. And she says, I've seen Dogman, but the more I think about Wampus Cat and Dogman, I have a lot of similarities. And that's why I was talking about earlier. Laurel, hi, Sonia, crazy witch.
No,
maybe it's like you're looking sometime. I mean, it is. And people tell you, Mr. Daniels, what is and what is not real, right? What is and what is not alive, what is to believe in, what not to believe in. But then you look out your back door and you're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
What is this? And I am not told this does exist. And where in the evolution chain did this come from? Where does Bigfoot come from, right? And so everything's out the window. So so my line in the sand does not exist anymore. So what do I believe in? I believe in everything. I believe in cryptids. So yes, I'm on your side.
Yeah.
Did you guys know? Did you hear?
Attracted to book UFO. You're fine, Barb. Go ahead.
Okay.
What was the question?
I just wanted to make a note. Have you guys heard Dr. Melba Ketchum's newest research? I was listening to her on a show the other night, and she actually they're doing Dogman DNA research now. They have samples and they have some results. She can't release it all yet, but she's finding the same thing. Is the mitochondrial DNA is from a human, which is the mother side, a human, and the the nuclear DNA, which would be from the father side, unknown. And she said there is some canine. They're finding some canine in there, but for the most part, so it's very, very interesting. And I was like, whoa, blown away. And she is too. So I just wanted to, I didn't know if you guys had heard that.
No, I haven't, but I think that study is really interesting because, doctors will a lot of times will fixate on stuff like, well, where do they come from? Are they from another planet? Are they man-made? Are they an ancient species, etc.? I think genetic engineering, the technology, has been around since like 1992. Well, I don't know. Some agent, God, I hate sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but there may be some agency like DARPA that's done. It's done genetic engineering before that. But first time I ever saw a Dogman was in 1988. So that's my only hesitancy when people start talking about them being genetically engineered. I mean, it's totally possible. I don't know where these things came from, but it's interesting though that she's doing that. I've heard her talk on her one of her shows before about she had a horse attack once, and the she gives is pretty, but I've never seen anything like that. What I have seen them do because I've seen them aggravate dogs. I don't mean even maliciously. I mean, kind of like I've got a 6-year-old in there right now watching Paw Patrol. And when he gets a kid smaller than him, like 3 or 4, he's excited that they're here. He really likes them. But at the same time, he does typically aggravate them a little bit. That's about I've seen from Dogman is they will aggravate a dog, mess with it, kind of like a 6-year-old messes with. I mean, they've never harmed our dogs ever. And I've heard other people say that they scare dogs and I've seen doesn't support that. I've heard of instances of people calling researchers because of stuff like a Dogman does not smell very good. And there was a woman mine was doing research for, and I don't remember what she started doing differently because it had been there a long time, but her dog started hanging out with the Dogman, and it would come in the house like sewage, which that's what they smell like. And in that instance, the Dogman bonded with the dog. So, yeah. I mean, everybody's, and, with any species, you're going to have outliers that are super aggressive, and you're going to have outliers that are like the best dog or cat you've ever had. So, I guess that's what I would ascribe to that is there's not a stereotypical Dogman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, in any type of field or realm, right? And we can take customer service as just a topic. We're always going to hear the negative part. We're never going to have the good part of anything, right? We're always going to hear the bad things.
Yeah.
So always try to put that in people's minds. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I always take that with a grain of salt when I talk to people, because that is the thing with the paranormal is that's what we always hear. We never hear that the goat, or the goat. The ghost, he patted me on the back and said, "You're a good guy, Grizzly. Thank you for coming. We enjoyed your company." We don't hear that, right? We hear that we got the Jeeves got scared out of me or whatnot, or things got thrown at me. But we do have encounters like you where they let you go about your business. There's a person that Barb knows that I know as well she has a lot of dog encounters when she was younger that looked at her when she was in and out of her car, walking in and out of her house. And it was just like, oh, it's you, right? And just left her alone, didn't they? And it's just, so we know the stories. We hear the stories. So it's not uncommon.
Yes.
But we also hear the other side of the stories where, for example, allegedly the Amazon driver that got attacked by a pack of dogs, that we know that's kind of baloney. There's more to the story than what everybody's leading on to. And, then that's when the conspiracy theories come involved and makes our mind wonder. We know about the Fish and Wildlife and the DNR, and we know they know that we know that they know that they know they exist, right? And they don't want us to know, to tell us in public that they know. So, I mean, it's just the endless cycle.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing when somebody does come forward and say, "Hey, man, look, since I've been 12, this is, I didn't know we were not supposed to go hunting because this, and, oh, don't worry about it. It's just the dog, walking by the window. You don't know about it any better. You're a child, you don't, okay, Mom, good deal, just leave it alone." So, now, I do understand when you said, telepathically. Now, I've talked about this with my psychics and people with abilities, is that a lot of people think that they think on a higher vibration level, and that's where they can actually mentally talk to you sometimes, like Sasquatch. People say they can talk to each other or they can think with them or send messages, however you want to say it. Some people say that you have to be on a certain frequency to see these creatures. You can have three people standing side by side, and out of three people, only one person can see the creature and not the other two. I don't know why that's possible. I have no clue. I don't know why a creature can walk behind a tree and disappear and not be seen again. I mean, there's a lot of what, unanswered questions. So, I mean, what are your takes about that?
That I'm really not sure about. I will just know that the reason I finally understood that I wasn't hallucinating is because we saw them at my parents' house. Like I said, once when I was 16, they showed up to a friend of mine's house and looked in the window at me. That was an isolated incident. Every other time I've seen a dog man, it's been at my parents' house. And your brain doesn't work like that, where you're rationally insane every time, except when you go to your parents' house and then you start hallucinating. In terms of them operating at a different frequency, I don't think I've ever been able to communicate with them, but I think they may have communicated with me. And I say that because when I sleep at my parents' house, I got married out of that house. My uncle's renting it now. But when I sleep in that house, I not infrequently have dreams where I see them. And in the dreams, they're just doing dumb shit. I mean, not bad stuff, just messing with me. Like, I'll be walking in the yard, the dog man will be walking behind me, imitating my movements, and then when I turn around, look at him and run off. Silly stuff like that. Not anything that would lead anyone to believe that I'm communicating telepathically with them, but just dreams that I don't otherwise have. I'm sleeping in there. And I don't know. It may be just chance, the same way you dream about anything else. You see something at the store you like and you go home and you dream about it. It could be that, but again, the dreams are pretty intense and just really stuff like them playing jokes on me. And I don't know what to make of that in terms of the.
And you said this happens when you're at your uncle's house. In that house, you're having these dreams when you're in that house,
right?
Yeah. So that's kind of
never anywhere.
Yeah.
I've never. Yeah.
Wow.
So what we learned with people that's passed on, right? Loved ones will come back to you in dreams to let you know and acknowledge that they're with you and let you know that they are okay. So we know about that. We know from other reports of people, especially in Tennessee, especially with Sasquatches, they do mock you on the property. They will mimic you. They will come and act goofy. Just like you're saying. So are they doing that at that residence and causing you to have those dreams? That is a possibility. I'm not saying it's not. I mean, it's strange if you're not there, you're not having those dreams and stuff. So, is it a coincidence? A coincidence maybe once, twice, no, 3 times. Okay, man, we got to start looking at this right now, right? Because now if I go back there and I lay my head back down to sleep and I'm start having that dream again and we're starting messing around, they're playing games with me, now something's going on. All right. I mean, I can only take coincidence so many times. So, and that's the way I roll with it, or roll with anything. So I don't rule anything out because we don't know what anything is capable of doing. The technology we have is ancient. Right. We know the military is 50 plus years advanced from us. The aliens that walk amongst us, which people don't want to believe they're here, you know, they have, I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen, you think they're flying in silver discs that's back from the 40s? No way in heck. I mean, they're cloaked. I mean, they can be parked right out front of my studio right now, for all I know, watching me, right? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea. So, I mean, we don't know. We just don't know what things are capable of doing, or creatures. So that's just my take.
Yeah.
I have a couple more questions. All right, what was I thinking? So do you think that so the Dogman that you've seen, you said starting from like 12,
Hey,
do
Chris,
you think it's all the same like pack, or different packs? You know, I guess that's what a Dogman would be, in a pack, like a dog. Did you hear that? I'm sorry, Brennan, did you hear that?
I think he had a question, or he was answering a question.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Oh, he's lagging. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know where he's at in Tennessee. There's a problem with internet. So, and the only reason I know is because I know people in his area. So that's why I said I understand where he's come from. So that's why I'm giving him a few seconds.
Definitely.
Yeah. So do you have a question or a response to anybody's questions that are out here in the chat room, or?
I'm not seeing questions if people ask it.
Yeah, they're just kind of making some comments.
Yeah.
But
so
Brennan, did you hear my question? I said, do you think that the Dogmen that you've seen, are they all from the same like pack? Okay. All right.
Now I wonder how long
that I'm not really sure about. The dog.
Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
The 3 Dogmen that I've typically seen. No, you're good. The 3 Dogmen I've typically seen, yeah, they're from the same pack or tribe. But I have seen one other thing, walking on the same trail that the Dogmen take to go to the Obine River. And Don Whitner was basically explaining about that these creatures have. And this gets into some really interesting stuff too, because one other time I can say with certainty I've seen a Sasquatch and a Sasquatch juvenile. They were traveling, doing the spider crawl on my property, and they were taking the same trail that the Dogmen take. Yeah. And also, what's really interesting is where this trail is. Don actually pointed this out to me. I'd seen this tree so many times that I didn't really think anything about it. There is a Cherokee tribal marker tree on my property. Don has seen it. Barb, I think, some pictures of it.
I've seen it.
And it's on the trail. Yeah.
Wow.
There is a tribal marker tree there, and I don't know if just different creatures have used that trail for a millennia. I really don't know, but most of the ones I see repeatedly, there's outliers. So I'm not sure that every one I've seen is with the same tribe or same pack. I'm going to say that multiple Dogmen use that trail, if for no explain to me. And the fact that I've seen a Sasquatch once, 2 Sasquatches with the same trail. So I guess that would, if I'm not sure I answered that, but that's the closest I can get.
Right.
Now, Don has a very big belief, and I do too, that the Native Americans, indigenous people, you know, they do have ties somehow. That has been known throughout history and ancient culture. They grew up together, you know. Did they have wars and issues? Yes, they did. That's been documented. The girl I'm talking to, she's got Indian blood, so it makes sense. So the markers you're talking about and so forth, there's a question in the group, in the chat room from electronic medium. Can you capture these creatures or anything on trail cameras or cameras?
I've heard mixed results about that. Person who took a picture of a dog man on my property did it with just his phone. I've got a trail cam. I've never put it up. I don't know if it was because I didn't want to walk the boat or I never got around to it, but lots of researchers have told me that dogmen and Sasquatches as well need night vision and avoid trail cams. There are other cameras that they're not as bothered by, but I don't know if I could capture it on a trail cam. I mean, I don't know why not, because to me, they look so real. I mean, I've never seen them do some of the things I've heard people do. They were just a flesh and blood creature when I've seen them. So I'm sure a camera would pick it up, but I've heard that lots of people say that they avoid trail cams. And given just the sheer number of people who put trail cams up to catch them, and the fact that, you know, when we're watching NVTV on YouTube, or they're not very convincing, the trail photos that come up. So I'm going to say no. A trail cam is pretty much useless when it comes to Dogman. That's really what I think.
That's been my experience with Sasquatch. Definitely, that's been our experience as well. An electronic medium also said, "Do you have any recordings of the sounds?" And she said she'd never heard of Dogman, and she's intrigued.
I've got one on a phone, a couple of the cicada type sound. And there was another instance where I tried to pick it up on my phone of the airplane sound. It didn't record. I don't have an answer for that. But if you, electronic medium, if you just go to YouTube and look up Dogman sounds, there's someone out there who's recorded lots of sounds. Lots of people have recorded their sounds. You're going to hear, I would say, or the cicada sound.
You know,
but they
that's
do
interesting.
They do imitate bird sounds. They. No, you're good. I was done.
No, I'm sorry, sir. There's a lag. So when I thought you're done, I speak, and then it catches up. What's interesting, you made a point, and ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you heard him or not. He tried to record it, and it didn't capture it. I've heard that so many times that people has had recorders on their phones or have a digital recorder, and they're like, "Man, this is gonna be some good stuff," and you can hear them talking, but you cannot hear anything in the background.
Right
now, I don't understand why that happens. That does not make any sense to me. So I've heard that a lot, Mr. Daniels.
Yeah.
So you're not the only one.
No, that's definitely, and again, been my experience also, even with our home security cameras, because if we will get movement, and so the camera's picking up movement, but it's picking up the sound. I get a lot, I know, you know, Brennan, I get a lot of recordings of sounds that they make, but I will also get like a lag, like a static, you know, and then it stops. It's like a so I think they've got to be able to manipulate. I'm firmly in belief now that they can manipulate electronics and lights and all that.
It goes back to what y'all were asking about the frequency. Right. I'm going to say I don't know a lot more than other people do. When I hear theory, I'm thinking of neurology, or something like that, where you scientific model that is really, really, really backed up by science. I don't even a hypothesis, when scientists use that word, mean an idea based on science. Most of there are researchers like Ricardo and Ricardo Sanchez and Don, who I listen to every word they say, and I think it's true, but it's still not science because, I mean, basically all we've got is a bunch of ideas because regardless of what people think, cryptozoology is not a hard science.
Right.
Arguably, it's not even a soft science because you can't repeat studies or subject something to a lab or anything like that. But I've got a lot of ideas about Dogman, but I'm going to say I don't know more than anyone because when it comes to a lot of this stuff, we just don't know. Yeah.
Crazy Witch has said that have y'all ever heard the clicking sound they make? And it's wild when you first hear it. Have you heard that, Brennan?
Yeah. Many times. And
wow.
I know I told y'all earlier that, and I can tell you what that is. That's one of the few things where I can tell you with near 100% certainty what's causing that sound. Almost every time somebody reports hearing a clicking sound, it's when the Dogman is standing up because these are creatures that bears, baboons, walk on all fours, but do occasionally stand up, often in front of you. So one time, not too long ago, I saw a bunch of trees and stuff swinging around. I didn't see anything. And I turned around and looked, and like right then, I just heard lots of what was going on is the Dogman was getting back on all fours, so it didn't freak me out. And I saw the dog at the tree line seconds later, but by then it was on all fours when obviously, or that's the tree branches and stuff move. When they squat down, when they stand up, they make clicking sounds. And I've talked to who've had dogs on their property say that juvenile Dogman don't make that sound. And it makes sense because if you look at an old adult, when they stand up, you hear the clicking, the lactic acid, the air popping, and all that.
Okay.
That is when people hear the clicking, is when those things stand up and sit down. That is one of the few things I can tell you for certain about a Dogman is that's just the sound of their joints moving when you hear that clicking. It's not any, I mean, yeah, I would freak out if I heard all that clicking and a Dogman stood up on me, but the sound itself is nothing for alarm. That's just their joints.
He's absolutely
that I can
right.
tell you with 100%.
He's absolutely right, ladies and gentlemen. That is what I get on reports. That is wild that he's actually stated that to the fact, to everything. That is the actual reports I get. Hi, Lily. Lily, check your phone. I sent you some messages. You'll be surprised what I sent you. But Mr. Daniels is right. So when you hear that clicking noise, beware. It's not growling at you. It is standing up. So run like hell is what I'm telling you. So.
And then Crazy Witch says, did you see Crazy Witch said, I think they have evolved to be able to snap their legs around like a snake and can like a snake can dislocate its jaw. Wow. That's pretty cool.
I think that's accurate then. If one of the reasons I think, you were asking me earlier about what you need to do, Dogman, they typically crawl really close to the ground. I mentioned the Dogman spider crawl earlier. That looks physically impossible. Dogmen also travel around like that. And usually when you see them, I mean, if you want to see a Dogman in the woods, keep your eyes on the ground because they do most of their movement really close to the ground, just like a Bigfoot does. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is surprising.
I don't know about.
Ladies and gentlemen, now when he talked about, yes, Bigfoot does look like a spider when they crawl on all fours. I have actually seen pictures of them looking look on all fours. Look, he's got me stuttering. But to see a Dogman on all fours, now that's crazy because I would never look down to even think about seeing one. So That's wild. I mean, you blew my mind on that one, sir. I mean, that's very interesting.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I got
And
goosebumps.
have you heard? I know that is it Mary
we-
Green, the woman that from Tennessee years ago that had interviewed.
Everybody. I just don't want to call
Oh.
somebody's crazy weird.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm talking over you. I'm sorry. That anyway, that Bigfoot can they call it
You're good.
swimming on land. Have you heard about that? Where they look like they're swimming on land?
Yeah, that's
Bigfoot,
what
the
it
movement that they make to move themselves across. And I wondered, have you ever seen Dogman do the same?
Yes. And one of the cool things about whenever you see an artistic depiction of a Sasquatch crawling on all fours, what you're going to see is basically what looks like a linebacker in a 4-point stance. Reality, that's not quite that's sort of what it looks like, but they are even lower to the ground than that. It's not like they're on there out and just off the ground, so close to the ground. And yeah, swimming is exactly what they look like. And when it's a wooded area and there's lots of leaves and stuff, it looks even more like they're swimming and really close to the ground. So yeah, I've never seen an artistic depiction of a Sasquatch or a Dogman on all fours that did it justice. There's one drop out there I've seen a bunch of times where it looks like linebacker in a 4-point stance, but it's lower than that, and it's something I don't think, unless you're standing there looking at another person, because somebody about just a question before that about how they've evolved. It doesn't look physically possible at all when you see it. It literally looks like a beast is swimming on the land.
Wow.
While I'm at it, this is not to insult the lady with the pentagram, and that's cool. I just don't want to call somebody crazy witch when she asks a question, even though she's totally cool with it. Is there a name I can call?
I think it's a guy too. Isn't crazy witch?
It's actually.
Or would she prefer a crazy?
So actually people come up with crazy names for YouTube names and Facebook names. So yeah.
Hey, Bigfoot on. Cool.
Hey, hello, Bigfoot. Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Yes.
Hello. Man, you are missing one heck of a show with Mr. Daniel.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's totally.
Yes. I mean, you got to go back and watch this show. I'm like, I got goosebumps, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
It is incredible. I'm just like, taken back. I just can't believe it. It's just wild. So yeah. So Laurel says I made it a habit to look up and down when I go in the woods. Now, people, actually, I can tell you this, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
if
brilliant.
you never seen a Bigfoot on all fours as a spider, I have seen people take pictures and videos and walk right by them in the woods and not even see them until they got home and watched the video. Yes, I said that right.
Yep.
Walk right by them within feet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've seen Hey, do you mind if I need to run and grab something? I'll come right back.
No, help yourself. No, this is all about you.
Yeah.
So Laurel, hopefully nobody's attacking your place out there. I know you got activity out there.
Wow.
I know it's that time of the year where everything's running around wild and crazy. Hello, Denise. Welcome to the show. Hello, everybody in Tennessee is jumping on board. Choo choo. Here we go here, everybody. Let's get a little music going here. I'm glad everybody's joining the show.
Yeah.
Very interesting here. Mr. Daniels from Tennessee talking about
Yeah.
Dogman.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Lily, I will call you here shortly. Yes, about that case tomorrow. Hello there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, welcome back, Mr. Daniels. Welcome back, sir. So, yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Van, we
Yeah.
are all
But
excited.
yeah, a lot of stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. What I was
No,
going
go
to
ahead.
say
No.
is a lot of these things I just don't. I don't just volunteer a lot of it. So if people have questions, keep that up, but keep me talking. A lot of things I just don't think anything about because I've seen them so frequently.
Yeah.
And again, on my part, there's a little bit of, I'm a little reticent about even talking about some of these things because until the last year or two, when I heard say them, I wanted to cringe. So yeah, keep the questions.
Okay, we know Laurel's okay. It was just her dog
Yeah.
knocking stuff over. All right, 'cause
Yeah.
I know where Laurel lives. You're right. She has a lot of activity in her area as well. She lives in Tennessee too, sir. So yes, I know her.
Oh, I know. I have a question.
All
Awesome.
right, Barb.
Bettina
Yes.
Moss,
Oh,
which we all
yes.
know, our friend, good friends.
Yeah.
She has mentioned that she
Yeah.
has heard, she's a witness. She has heard like a almost like a dumpster sound, like when a dumpster closes, that the top of a dumpster closes. It's that heavy metallic sound. Have you heard anything like that? And what do you think that comes from? What do you think would be making that? I mean, in association.
Absolutely. The first time that I'm really not sure. But what's that pig chimpanzee's name? I just read it. I haven't heard. Is it Bonobo or Bonobo?
Yeah.
The smaller chimpanzee, a Bono. If you
I can't think of the name.
If you hear the metallic too, and I think that's just, I think it's going to sound like that because the only mammals that are capable of speech are Homo sapiens, us. A Sasquatch, because a Sasquatch sounds pretty metallic as well.
Coco.
Sometimes.
Coco.
Because Dogman. Man and Sasquatch can mimic a lot of sounds, but they're not really capable of speech. I think that in the animal kingdom, bonobos, that's what they're called, the pygmy chimps. They make a very similar sound when they, due to the fact that they're incapable of truly speaking, and that's just an animal sound. That's not anything unique, I think, to Sasquatch or Dogman. And I think that's just because they lack the ability to truly make speech. Yeah.
I've not heard of that being associated with Bigfoot.
Gorillas and chimps and bonobos.
Okay. Yeah. I have not heard that, but I have heard several people say this about this heavy metallic sound, like a door. And then other people have speculated maybe it's like if they're going through a portal or, something like that, which we don't, we wouldn't know. Yeah, who knows?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about now. This I was talking about earlier that sounds somewhat like locusts or cicadas that are out of season.
Okay.
Is probably that's her description of the closest thing it sounds like to me would be, like I said, a cicada. The cicada sounds real metallic as well.
Yeah, they do.
And
it's that
when
high
they
pitch.
imitate once or twice, yeah. So that's just what I would attribute to them being animals and not being speaking.
Okay.
That's wild.
Yeah. It is
Incredible.
So what kind of things do you do,
But,
Brennan, as far as
Laurel
are you
mentioned
ongoing
earlier that,
research? Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not associating Dogman organization. I do have ongoing research at my own home, and
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. But right now, I'm a cryptid group or organization right now because it was taking up entirely too much of my time and energy.
Yeah, it really does. It's true.
Anybody who's done this, I didn't know this a couple of years, but yeah, we didn't cryptid. It's kind of strange. Other things start taking a huge second place to it, you know. I'm sure there's people out there that have just started and started just obsessed with finding out more about this. I had in the last month or so in terms of the amount of time I'm spending with this. I'm making myself not fixate on questions like where they from or why doesn't every but yeah, I've just had to force myself not to, man, because it's really easy to do. You know, it's really easy to get in fights and shit with people on Facebook. You know, like close. Yeah, and I'm not going to subject myself to that anymore. So, I'm still going to do my own research, and I'm still going to listen to Carter says, or you know, whatever Don tells me, or you tell me for that matter. But I'm not going to get into, I don't know the politics, right word. The drama. Well, I'm just going to call it what it is.
Hey, that's right, Brennan. My page, no drama. Bigfoot. This is exactly. I wanted to just be able to ask people questions, right? Going like, well, do you know whatever, and then the camp that's like no cloaking. Oh my gosh, what? Oh, you're an idiot. You know, you're an idiot. Why would you even say something like that?
Yeah.
You know, and wow, dude, I just was asking a question.
So here's the deal, Mr. Daniels, and this is the way Grizzly states it. And this is the way Grizzly rules the world, okay? You believe what you want to believe. I will believe what I want to believe. And whatever else is in between, that's fine by me. I don't have to believe what you believe. Right? And if you don't want to believe what I believe, then turn the channel.
Exactly the way I am.
Don't make a comment. Do not make that emoji on my page.
Right.
Just move it along, Buster. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know how often I have to tell people, and that and that to me, that's with anything. I have to tell people all the time as politely as I possibly can. It's like, no offense at all. And I'm not going to say anything offensive, but I really don't give one fuck what you had to say about it. And y'all can figure out a way for me to tell.
I do not have a beat.
Let me know how you do
it. You know, ladies and gentlemen, you're not there. You know, like I said, I'm not there. I don't take the picture. I don't take the video. So I cannot judge. Sorry. You know, it is. So
Forth with people like go into the same where this picture was taken, like, see, there's nothing here.
Yes, I know they always want you
like,
to,
no matter what, people are going to argue
one picture. We'll go back and take what, and you know, can you do a live video of you? No, I mean, no. Because I don't know. So when my process is, I go out and I will walk and I'll talk and I'll act like I normally do, and I take my phone and I walk in a circle and I'll take pictures, I'll take videos. So 2 weeks later, maybe a month later, you go back and you're finding this stuff. And so hi Samantha, and so I'm not gonna and I don't know, where is that tree? Where is that particular? So, because it's like, we're not here to prove to people. It's great if you have evidence. That's cool. Awesome.
I'm sorry, Mr. Daniels, but that rock's not in the right place.
Yes. That's not at the right angle.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
saying for an example. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
have
yeah.
those critics,
yeah.
you
No,
know.
I hear
Yes.
you. That's yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know exactly
Or
what
where
it's
was
about,
that dead
and
leaf? In
you know,
your
like when
picture,
you
there was
post
a
a
dead
picture.
leaf and there was a dead fern. Well, that was 3 weeks ago. So the dead leaf or the dead fern's probably long gone. I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, I've just had to force myself not to
Yeah.
fixate too much on this.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
I know what I've seen. Had two other researchers, I respect
Mhm. Mhm.
my friend Ricardo, most polarizing dogman researcher in the United States, but he's a good friend of mine, and everything he's ever told me turned out to be true. And he is a legit researching badass. I'll tell you this story here. He was the first researcher I ever had come out to my. I built him a little makeshift pit to grill his hamburgers on, and we're just sitting there talking, and we see eye shine, and he's got a hamburger in hand. We go over to the tree line, and I'm I'm not freaking out, but at the same time, I'm a little bit apprehensive. But I know that they've seen me since I was a kid, so they're not going to attack me. But I'm still apprehensive. It's a dog man. Ricardo looks over and he says, "Is that the one you call Sammy?" And I said, "Yep." He said, "Hey Sammy, would you like a hamburger?" Kid you not.
No, get
He
out.
had
Wow.
no. So he
Wow. That's cool.
swear to God,
That is not cool.
that
I would have
happened.
dropped dead.
And
I would have dropped dead right
after I
there.
saw,
Because I wasn't there, so it's cool. No, but it's kind of cool to be in your place.
yeah, 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 but I saw him do that, and I saw the whole scenario. From then on, it was like whatever he tells me, either it leads it. He's not making anything up. Yeah, I saw that happen. So
Did he give Sandy the burger?
no, Sammy kind of because she'd never seen him before, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
plus she had
Mhm.
two people one seen, and that was the first time I'd ever gone out of my way to look for him. Every other, but that time we saw them. They saw that we saw them and that we were trying to engage them, and I don't think they really knew what to make of it. So
Okay.
they just kind of from the scenario.
Wow.
What about Grizzly
Yeah.
dead?
But yeah, they were really shocked.
Oh, no.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I said, what about Grizzly? He's dead
Yeah.
after somebody offered them a hamburger. I mean,
I'm
just leave me lay there, I would, Mr.
Oh.
Daniels, I would die, Yeah. Would you like a hamburger? Yeah. I'm dead. That's yes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm terrified of the dog man. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Me too. Me too. But
I'm like
Yeah.
George of
I
the
mean,
jungle.
I can't
Watch
think of
out
it.
for that tree. I would run into that damn tree in the woods and knock myself out. Yes, that is me.
Oh.
So, hey,
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I mean, I wasn't afraid, but I was still leery. I'm saying and apprehensive. I mean, I wasn't, like I said, I was apprehensive because regardless of how many times they'd seen me, that could have been my cat walking up to him and he would have reacted the same way.
Wow.
That. Well, I'm just sitting here looking, see if anybody's.
Yeah.
oh no.
Well,
you're
Laurel
drawing-
said what the world needs now is
Yeah.
love, sweet love. Yeah.
I mean, you're drawing a crowd. Now, our numbers are
Yeah.
not correct because we are broadcasting worldwide. We're on so many different platforms. We're in a lot of Facebook groups. Thank you, all the Facebook moderators and admins, for letting us go live in your groups. And tomorrow you're going to be live on all these audio platforms too.
Yeah.
So, yes, and yeah. So You are amazing, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Amazing.
I'm so glad that he came and
absolutely. Just put flowers on my grave. It's
And
the only thing I ask.
I'm just answering them.
And come to think of it, I instant messaged back and forth with you a little bit too once and told you could come to my property whenever you wanted. And yeah, that's still true considering you're only one state up. But yeah,
I may do that. I may come with Don. Don is Grizzly approved. I think the world of him. He's the real deal. He's very passionate about what he does. He's no nonsense guy. He does his science. His investigation, scientific way. He's very good. He's very good. He's very good with people. So I support him. And he supports me. So he's a good man. Really is. So yeah. But anybody else have any questions for Mr. Daniels or anything? I'm very thankful for Mr. Daniels for coming on the show, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for sharing your story. I mean, that is amazing.
Sure is.
I mean, all these years holding that in. Anytime, you're more welcome to come back. Barb, do you have anything?
No, I'm trying to think if I have it. I feel like I do have questions for him, but I can't think of it. I think I've pretty much gotten. And then Brennan and I, we text probably once a day, so at least. So I'll just ask you if I can think of anything. But I do. I do appreciate you coming on.
But ladies and gentlemen, from coast to coast and around the world, we say goodbye, and we'll see you next time. And Mr. Daniels, thank you, sir, very much. Take care, everybody. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No. We're gonna watch and listen.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, shit, should we run?
No.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, should we run?
Okay. It's a grizzly.
Are you sure it's not a chipmunk? Action. No, I'm out of here. Action.
It's a grizzly.
I'm out of here.
Huh. Maybe it is a chipmunk. It's a grizzly.
Are we gonna die?
I don't know. We're just gonna sit here and listen and watch.
Let's get out of here, maybe.
Fall!